Hey guys, Frozen X is here. Today I'm going to be bringing you what I personally believe to be the best DPS build in the game. Currently, I have a all-purple weapons, a purple Scar that's doing almost 125,000 DPS, and a SMG that is doing nearly 105,000, and the sidearm does 50,000. Keep in mind these are all purples. The only high-end gear I have are the knee pads. So I feel that with the build that I'm going with, if you just, swap out purple for high end, you'll just get much larger numbers than what I have. And with a all high end set, I think you could easily get between 200,000 and 250,000 DPS, no problem. So let's start off with the weapons you'll be using. I did a lot of testing in this because I personally like marksman rifles the best, but unfortunately for damage per second, or DPS, marksman rifles don't do as much damage per second because they're either bolt action or semi-automatic, and the semi-automatics are less accurate. So I chose to opt out of the sniper and go with a SMG instead. The SMGs are really close up range, and they have the passive ability. Every SMG will have this ability, is a plus whatever percent critical hit chance. This varies depending on the gun, but every SMG will have a plus critical hit chance. With the talents, I mean, I don't really focus on trying to get the talents, especially in this build. This build is specifically built for firearms, as you can see, almost 3,500, while both these are left at 1,000. I don't really focus on stamina in this. I have another set of gear that's more well-rounded, and when I say well-rounded, I focus on firearms and stamina. Apparently people actually do really like using the electronic skill, so I want to take back my earlier statement when I said it was completely fucking useless, because I guess, people use it, they like it, and it's good for them. Just in my playstyle, it made me terrible, so I didn't really like it too much. And so if you really like the electronic skill, power to you, man. I can't do it, so good for you. And we have, for our primary, the Scar. I originally had an AK. It was purple, but I've since sold it. I I didn't like the AK as much because there's too much recoil on it, and with an assault rifle, you're already having quite a bit of issue with accuracy. As you can see, stability is pretty low. The accuracy is not bad, but if you compare that to an AK, it's pretty much half of what the Scar is. So I went with a Scar, and it did exactly like it was, like within 1 or 2,000 DPS of what the AK did. For this though, I want to go over the mods I have on it. I went with this scope because it has plus 18% headshot damage and plus 17% accuracy, two things that are very vital for an assault rifle. The magazine size is also amazing, plus 77%, which brings me to 53 rounds in a mag. This is almost a light machine gun. This has nearly the same rounds as I do in my submachine gun, and an increased reload speed is obviously just great all around. This increases the hip fire accuracy. I don't really care about that too much. I never fire from the hip. I was just going for the extra accuracy there. The flash hider, it increases accuracy again, and it also increases critical hit chance, which a higher critical hit chance on an assault rifle is amazing. Now looking at the attachments on the SMG, it's very similar. You may be thinking, why the hell would you put a scope on there? But same reasoning, better accuracy, because SMGs do have quite a bit of recoil. As you can see, the accuracy isn't as nearly as good as the assault rifle was, and generally assault rifles are the ones that are least accurate. And the extra headshot damage, this combined with the plus 22% critical hit chance is really good, and you'll see yourself hitting massive amounts of damage. Okay, and now on to the mag. Quicker reload speed, bigger magazine. This has pretty much the same size mag as the assault rifle, which is awesome. And for finally, we have the extra stability, but I don't, that's not really what I was going for. I wanted the critical hit damage, because you're already going to be hitting so many critical hits, because I have both, or not that, sorry, I thought that gave me critical hit chance too, but with the critical hit chance that I already have, or passive ability that's already on here, you'll be doing a lot of critical hit damage. Now, I'm going to talk about gear very briefly, because it's pretty much just keep getting the best stuff you can get. for me, I focus on gear that has mostly firearms attributes. I have this one. I have really nice armor here that does over 1,000. I'm surprised it's only a purple, but you know, I really like it. Um, there's not really much to focus on. Things like the gloves, where you get extra assault rifle damage, is really good. Extra damage to elites, that's amazing. And the critical hit chance, that with the SMG really helps out a lot. All these things will really help the build, especially in the dark zone. The only thing I have boosting my electronics is this holster I have that is pretty well rounded between all three abilities. So I'm going to stick with this holster for a little bit because I guess having some power in electronics is good, but if I did get a holster that was like 200 more in both firearms and stamina, I honestly would go with that though, just because that's how I, play the game. And alright, so that's pretty much it for weapons and gear. I'm going to talk about gear mods. If you're doing a DPS build, just use the firearms mod because you're primarily focusing DPS. You can put suppressors on your gun to reduce your threat, so if you're playing with another player, you don't have to worry too much about them, coming on to you. So I'm actually going to switch this over to a firearms because I had it on stamina. I thought I moved all of them over to firearms for this build. But yes, the advanced firearms mod will really help you. They add about, what was that again? 108, I think it was said. Yeah, 108 is firearms. So if you see, I don't know if that'll do too much. Yeah, it doesn't do drastically much, but see, that's now over 106,000. That didn't really move, I don't think. So that's not really a big improvement, but it is an improvement. And if you're wondering how, here, I'll show you. If you're wondering how I got so many advanced firearms mods, I did not find them and collect them. What you can do is go to this guy right here in the base of operations, the mods vendor, and unlike other vendors, when you buy something from him, you can buy more than one of it. So, say I want an advanced electronics mod. Alright, I just bought it, it's still there, and I can buy another one. And so one day when I saw that there was a advanced firearms mod in here, I just bought like 5 or 6 of them for about, a little over 100,000. Because you can just keep buying them from here, and that's actually a really, really nice thing to know. I don't know if that's a bug or if it's intentional, but either way, if you want to stock up on mods, I suggest doing it now. And now we're going to get into probably what you're more here for, and that's the skills and talents. So first off, I went with Pulse. I normally don't like Pulse, but the extra critical hit chance and critical hit damage that you get from this will really help you out, especially with the SMG. The SMG having that now you're at like, what, 30 something or over 30% extra critical hit chance with this combined with the passive ability on the SMG, and then over 35% critical hit damage because I have other gear that increases my critical hit damage. For the mod, I use Tactical Scanner because damage is increased while attacking any hostile targets identified by the pulse scan. Obviously, this is a DPS build, so therefore anything that allows you to do more damage is very important. For my second skill, I went with the support station still because, I don't really, as this is a DPS build, you could have gone with a turret or a Seeker Mine, but you're still going to need some kind of ability to heal you. In the dark zone, you might run out of med kits, so you might need a ability that you can just keep throwing down every, what is the recharge on this? Cooldown is 72 seconds, so about a minute and a little over a minute that you can just heal yourself up to full. Also in the dark zone, as I said in the dark zone solo guide, the life support mod will revive you if you go down in the dark zone and you're playing by yourself. People overlook this because it says allies. In the dark zone, you still go into that last stand mode. Outside of the dark zone, you just die once you go down, but in the dark zone, this is the only thing that will give you a self-revive, and therefore it's, to me, a complete necessity. And for the T, this should be pretty obvious. This is a DPS build, so I went with Tactical Link. The damage buff, you do 50% extra damage, 20% extra critical hit chance. You can't really get much better damage-wise than that. You're going to do so much damage in this 12 seconds. You can't expand this past that 12 seconds. I'm pretty sure all these abilities are static with their, with the stats. So I would just recommend going with the Tactical Link and making sure you're reloaded when you use this, because I always make that mistake of hitting T while I'm reloading and I waste like 2 or 3 of my 12 seconds. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the skills. Now into the talents. Obviously, first off, I went with critical save. This is going to be in every build. Use a medkit during low health to increase damage resistance by 40% for 10 seconds. In every build, when you get low health, that's probably when you're gonna, get scared and hit the V and use your medkit. And, having 40% damage resistance after you use your medkit will really help you, because after you use your medkit, you're most likely gonna stand up to shoot again, and that's going to give you pretty much a 10-second window to shoot where you're going to be taking nearly half damage. And alright, on to what makes this a DPS build for the talent tree. Tactical Advance. This has been in most of my builds so far, so this shouldn't come as a surprise either. Complete a cover move to increase weapon damage by 2% per meter covered for 10 seconds. Obviously, anything that increases your weapon damage is going to be in this build. This is one of the few skills, or I'm pretty sure this is one of the only talents that actually increases your base weapon damage, so this is definitely something you need to pick up. For this, during cover move, damage is reduced by 30%. Because this is a primarily DPS build, you're going to have lower stamina, therefore lower health, so anything that'll help you take less damage will really help, and chances are the only time you're going to take damage is in a cover move, and when you stand up to shoot. But if you're playing by yourself with this build, you'll definitely be moving around a lot, but even if you're not, just take this into account. If you move, you're going to take only 70% of the regular damage, and it's also going to give you a pretty big damage buff. So these two things used together are really, really good. And finally, the last talent is Steady Hands. Enter any cover to reduce recoil by 25% for 10 seconds. As you're using an assault rifle and an SMG, recoil really is an issue. Both of them are fast-firing guns that do a lot of damage quickly. Therefore, their accuracy isn't exactly the best, nothing compared to a marksman rifle. So I would highly, highly recommend using this, because once you enter cover, that's going to give you a 10-second window to just shoot, and you're going to hit your target much more. And that paired with the critical hit damage, critical hit chances increased, that's really going to help you out a lot. As I always say, perks are static, can't really do anything about those. And that's really about all I had to cover. There's nothing really else for me to say about this build. So just have a great day, guys, and peace out.